Hi there, and welcome to this video showing how to complete the Culturally Responsive Pedagogy and Practices Innovative Best Practices Grant application in the NOVA system. This is the first time this grant has been in NOVA, so if you don't have an account, you don't have access to NOVA yet, first thing we do is we're going to request access to NOVA. So click on that, and it takes you to this page where we put in our employer. Let's say I'm with Cabrillo College, and make sure that we're going to go down here and choose the correct program that we want access to, and then we're going to go over here and hit the application ones. Add this request at the bottom. So like I said, we had employer, programs, activities. We added the request. We need to add our personal info, which I'm not going to do right now. But once you add your personal info, you hit the submit request button. That tells the help desk who and what kind of roles they need to create the account for. It takes about a day sometimes for the help desk to get new account requests processed, but then you will have a NOVA account. There are no special roles to filling out competitive applications in the system, so as long as you have a NOVA account, you don't need anything else. You can go ahead and apply for this grant. So let's go back and log in. So now we're in NOVA, and you will see that a couple things to point out. Number one, this isn't real NOVA. This is the sandbox environment. You'll notice the URL has the sandbox prefix on it there. This is our testing environment. We use this for demos. So this is very much what NOVA looks like. It's a reflection of the real system, but nothing I do in here matters. So if I choose your college and use you as a demo, don't worry about it. So you'll see a long list of programs on the left-hand side here. CRPP IBP is what we will be looking for this program. Click on that, and then we're going to click on applications. One thing to point out about this page is you can kind of see that there are some applications in this list already. I can see those because this is an admin account. You will not be able to see those. You will only be able to see your specific application. NOVA locks down competitive applications pretty tightly when they are in the competitive mode, so you only be able to see your application, no one else's. But let's go ahead and make one. So we're going to help create applications, the button you want up here. You'll see that the fund is currently open for submissions, so we're going to hit a create application and make one. Oh, test 2, and then you'll see there's only one fund to apply for. We use fund and grant sometimes pretty interchangeably in NOVA depending on the program. So the fund we're applying for is this specific grant, and let's say we're applying, this allows us to either choose a college or a district. The RFA allows both, but let's say we're applying as Antelope Valley College. We create application, and this takes us to the workflow. Now NOVA uses a lot of workflows. It's kind of a big part of the system. This is the application workflow. This is the workflow that a user will fill out, and then when they're done with it, they submit their application. So let's look through the various steps in this workflow. First things first, though, you'll notice that there's all these incomplete. Once you start filling this out, you'll see these incompletes go away. The other thing I like to orient people to is this up here on the right-hand corner. You'll see this little 1 error, and it says show 10 errors. This is how we know something has yet to be completed on this page. And if we hit the show button, it takes us to where we need to go and outlines it for us. So you notice on this details page, there's not a lot to do. It's just mostly the system information that's already in there. The one thing you do have to do is click the assurances, and then you can move on to the next section, which is contacts. Contacts here, you'll notice that because I created this application, it automatically assigns me as the project lead contact. I can assign a different project lead contact if I need to, which let's say I wanted to make it my other account. You'll notice that when you have 2 project leads, this delete button shows up. The system will not let you delete the only project lead because then there wouldn't be anyone. So we're going to go ahead and remove the old one, and that's how you replace a project lead. Now let's talk about the rest of the contacts here. So there's 4 contacts. The project lead that I've talked about is responsible for submitting and editing and filling out the application, reporting, any sort of NOVA form that is associated with this application. The project lead will have the ability to fill it out and submit it, make edits, make changes, whatever they want. That includes the fiscal reporting part, and that includes the application. The alternate project lead has the ability to edit everything. They just can't submit anything. So they will not be able to submit the application, and they will not be able to submit fiscal reports. They will be able to edit them, though. The institution of fiscal reporter does not have any role when it comes to the application. They are a specific role to the fiscal reporting, and their job is essentially to fill out and complete fiscal reporting and submit it. The project lead also has that role, so it is a little bit duplicative. Sometimes it's the same person, but a lot of programs require a specific person that they can essentially talk to about any sort of budgetary questions. These 3 all have roles that fill out, edit, and submit things depending on what they are. The fiscal report approver is a different animal altogether. This role is responsible for essentially when the project lead contact or the institution project fiscal reporter completes their expenditure reports and submits the fiscal reporting associated with this application, the fiscal report approver then goes in and gives one final approval on behalf of the college or district. This is usually the CBO or someone from the financial office that gives that one final check off to know the numbers are right before they get transmitted back to the chancellor's office. If you have questions about any of these contacts, one thing that I'd like to point out is in this program specifically, the staff has done a really good job of guidance text. Another thing to point out about these workflows is that every page at the top, you'll see this guidance text. A lot of it comes from the RFA, but please read it because it will tell you at least some of the details that you'll need to know to fill out that page. So to fill out the contacts page, I'm just going to make myself everything for the sake of doing this now. This is not necessarily what we recommend. Different people are typically used for different roles. But the system doesn't actually enforce that rule. All right, so the contacts are now complete. We've added the 4 that it's required, and we can move on to the budget portion here. Now NOVA, this is the standard NOVA budget page. There is this guidance text up top here, which you should check out, but generally NOVA includes a budget narrative. This is a high-level description. How are you spending the money in kind of broad terms? And then the budgets in NOVA are made year by year, so this is a 2-year grant, and they're also made item by item. So the way we build a budget in NOVA is for the year 23-24, we're going to build by a budget item. Let's say we have a instructional salaries, staff expense. Please put more details in here than I am. This is the demo. The more details you include, the better. But let's say we wanted $80,000 for staff. We would go ahead and add that budget item under the object code 1000. You'll see it pop up here. We can edit it or delete it over here with these 2 buttons. Or we can add another one. Let's say benefits, 20,000 in benefits. Oops, that goes down here. And let's say we also wanted to add 50 grand under object code 5000. So we've essentially added 150,000, which is about half of the maximum for this grant, and we said that's going to be the budget for year 1. For year 2, we can just hit this button here that says copy from previous year. If it is a repeating budget, that's an easy way to do it. You can also edit these or add new items as you see fit. But the point is here, we have now budgeted 300,000 over 2 years by chunk, by object code chunk. For a competitive application, there is no requirement that you apply for all 300,000. You can just take this one down to 45,000 and then submit it. You're just asking for less than you potentially could. Either way, as soon as I put some information in this budget narrative piece, that's the budget page. High-level narrative, and then chunk by chunk, object by object code, piece by piece budget for the 2 years. The next two sections, the application narrative and work plan, and the management commitment sections, are straight out of the RFA. So you'll notice that the guidance text up here is very, very familiar and is also from the RFA. This is called helper text down here. So read all the instructions. The majority of fields for this application are what we call a narrative response. So instructions, long narrative response. The 2 character limits that we use in this application are 5,000 characters and 2,500 characters, both of which are 25 characters, or 2,500 characters is traditionally a single page, double-spaced text. So this is about option for about two pages of single-spaced or double-spaced text. But you'll see these are straight out of the RFA. We're going to go through, we're going to read them, we're going to fill in the questions. Similar down here for the work plan portion, the goals, the activities, outcomes, timelines, responsible persons. So as college, you can fill these out. Oh, hey, look, I missed one because the error stepper up here still says I'm missing one. If I click it, oh, it's the first one. And now that that one's done, the error stepper goes away, and that section is complete. Then, of course, there's this section, very similar. Read the instructions. It even has the page reference in the RFA. They did a good job of writing the instructions for this. And then, as you can see, there's similar narrative questions, plenty of instructions. I'm going to go ahead and fill these out as well. And then this last question here, feasibility, 10 points. Now, once I have answered all of the questions here, you'll see that everything in this entire work plan is done. And ready to go down here and hit preview and submit, which I will do. Oh no, I forgot something, and I want to go back and make a change. I can just go hit unsubmit and do this as many times as I want if I need to make changes. The trick is that if this application is in this draft form, if you have it unsubmitted and you're just making changes to it, on February 17th, when the application deadline closes, this will not be a submitted application. Make sure that this button is complete and your application is in a submitted stage right here on when the deadline comes. Pretty important. Besides that, one last thing to show you, and that's how to get help. Down here in the bottom left-hand corner of Nova, you will see this help. There's some stuff on this page, but the main way to get help for Nova is to use this link right here. This takes you to the Chancellor's Office Help Desk request form. Fill out the form, and the help desk will be in contact regarding anything, technical issues or problems you might be having with the system. They don't traditionally support programmatic requests, so if you have those, talk to your program leads, or the help desk will just probably refer the question to them. Any questions, like I said, help desk or your program leads, thank you very much.